All right, there we go. We are live. Hello. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks, Camille. Thanks for having me. This is going to be fun. I've been looking forward to this.
I know we've only planned it for like 20.
I was going to say, we've scheduled and rescheduled. And I think originally we were supposed to do this, I want to say maybe in the summer or late summer?
Yeah, it was like August.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then life got a little crazy and
I agree.
yay. And you switched. Tell me about that. Like I know you went to a lawyer.
Yeah.
You
Lloyd
started
Corporate.
tell me about how you got there from your
Okay.
start.
So prior to Aloya, I was working at Adventure Credit Union in Grand Rapids. I was there for almost 12 years and I worked in, a bunch of different roles from, teller to being in the contact center, card services, virtual solutions. And really the position with Aloya kind of almost came out of nowhere. And why I say that is because I wasn't necessarily looking to move employers. It was more of just looking for kind of just something different. And how Aloya came about was literally, I was talking to a coworker one night about just kind of some of the different, vendors and companies that Adventure uses. And Aloya came to mind, and I went to their website on like a Thursday night and I put my, information in. And then all of a sudden on like a Tuesday, they emailed me and they're like, hey, we see that you live in Michigan and we're looking for someone, that lives in Michigan for this role that we've kind of created. And it just kind of went from there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just randomly looked and
Yeah. Yeah,
and it's a
right.
brand new role.
Yeah, so it's a role they added, and really I think is because there is a really, really strong presence of Aloya in Michigan. I think Aloya is Michigan's one of like the top states for Aloya actually. And the person who was the consultant for Michigan, her name's Leah. I think she just had a lot on her plate. So what they did is I think with my role, they gave me and my department credit unions in Michigan, and then I have some in Indiana that are 50 million and below asset size.
So you get the small ones.
Yeah, yep, yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I have 80 credit unions, and it's pretty much half Michigan, half Indiana.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How do you I can barely handle my own stuff at one credit union, let alone like 80 different. When you started out, did you plan to be in credit unions, or were you like most of us that just kind of like, oh, here I am, might as well be here?
Yeah, I kind of just when I was looking for a job, and at the time, Adventure at that time was option one because they did a name change in June of 2016, I think it was. So a friend of mine worked at option one, and they were like, hey, you should, look into working here at the credit union. It's a really good place. And I applied and started as a teller. So I think my credit union journey is very similar to a lot of different people.
Yeah, I'm one of those too. Hey, I need another job.
Yeah.
Well, here we are 8 years later.
Exactly.
Somehow we're here. And so Adventure was kind of your the only one that you were at.
Yeah.
What roles did you have in there? How did you kind of navigate through it?
So when I first was hired, I was a teller, and then I was in our contact center just for a little bit. And then kind of, I want to say maybe 4 years into being a teller, they opened up what's called now their member solutions associate position. But when it first started, the interesting thing is we actually, Adventure used to have a branch downtown right across the street from Van Andel Arena in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
And at the time, there was a lot of talk about technology and ITMs and all of that. And that was kind of like their test branch. So they hired like that first group, and then I was in the second group to go through. I was at MSA from, it was probably spring of 2017 until I ended up in card services, which was in July of 2020. So I started in card services like right kind of when, or not right when, but after everything with the pandemic. Yeah.
So you were in member services up until, so you did through the pandemic, or at least like the first half of it in member services.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was at our Kentwood branch in March of 2020 when everything shut down. And it's really weird because the past couple of days, that whole part of, everyone's history has come up for whatever reason. And everyone was just like, yeah, it was just crazy for everybody. And even for us, I remember they kind of closed a bunch of the branches down and reassigned people.
Yep, we did too.
Yeah, see, yeah. And I was at our corporate office for 7 weeks. It was just kind of a crazy time, but then you didn't really know what was going to happen. And there was always, a new report with everything every day. So everyone did it as well as they could during that time.
I remember I was member facing 1 day a week, and the rest I was like in our mortgage department, but I kind of floated to like back them up. And explaining how you work in a credit union on a teller line during a pandemic is very hard to do, especially for people who've never been in the industry, because it's
Exactly.
like you think you're busy. Let me tell you about stimulus check day and like how I got a 15-minute lunch and like 3 hours of overtime.
Mhm.
Like it's interesting. Do you miss the member service side of it, or do you feel like
I
with a
would
lawyer?
say yes and no. Being like in card services and then virtual solutions at Adventure, you definitely got the member service side of it, but more on the technology side. So
Mhm.
like a lot of our conversations were phone, email, and chat, or text for that matter.
And then how did you get started in fuel? Because you
Okay,
were in
so
it the last 2 years,
yeah,
at least.
I kind of, but like I would say probably prior to the 2 years, I asked my supervisor at the time, I was like, hey, are there any like, events or conferences or, something I could go to and just kind of, network and meet with people or anything like that. And kind of, fuel was kind of mentioned around the credit union, but it wasn't like as big, I guess, or as known as it is now, like
Yeah.
statewide. Yeah, 2 years ago, I got involved with it and had our first statewide meeting at MGM, just kind of asking like, hey, is there anything that I can be involved with or in or networking?
I think it's wild that there's a few, like Ann Ditlow, you, me, and a few others, like our first, it was 2024. So, like, a fair amount of people that I've talked to, like, 2024 apparently was a good year for us.
I would
We
agree.
all just showed up on it.
Yeah.
I'm not in fuel this year, and as sad as I am, I'm super grateful for it, and I'm really glad to see like other people do it. Will you be there for a lawyer or?
So yeah, I should be at most of the Michigan events this year with Aloya, but
Oh,
it
cool.
ties in great because it's like even if I were still in fuel, I would have still gone to most of the big
Yeah,
events with your Qs and Ace and all of that. And it's really nice too because Ace this year is in Grand Rapids again, which I'm really looking forward to.
I'm so excited.
Right in my backyard. It's great.
You don't have to worry about the hotel. You just can just go and do
Yeah.
whatever. And love that. I saw that they were coming back this year, and I'll be there not as a fuel, but as a podcaster person, which will be weird. And I'm glad to see that it's coming back because I don't want to go to Traverse City again.
Traverse City. Here's what I will say. Yeah, the drive is a little bit longer to Traverse City, but I'm really glad that my first year at Ace was in Traverse City. And the reason is because I just got to get away and kind of experience
Yeah.
everything. And, I feel like with it being in Grand Rapids, if it would have been in Grand Rapids the first time I was in Ace, I feel like I would have wanted to, check into work more or something like that. And being in Traverse City, it was just your own, however many days kind of to yourself, which was
So
which
it
was
gave
really nice.
you, I like that. That makes sense. I didn't see it that way. I saw it more of like, I've been up to Traverse City so many times, but that's just me.
Look, I've been there, done that.
Literally, I remember being so nerve-wracking, and then they assigned you and I to be bingo together, and I remember being down in the convention hall, and you're just talking to everybody, and I was just like, "He's so outgoing, and I'm so not," and I was like, "They did this on purpose to me."
Yeah.
And I'm grateful they did, because I remember specifically asking you, and I don't know if you remember this, but it's been in my head for the last years. I'm like, "How are you comfortable just talking to everybody?" And you're like, "'Cause I don't care what they think," and I was just like, mind blown, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Just
"Oh,
talk to everybody
okay."
for sure.
Like, I just and you just and I'm just like, "All right, cool, let's go." That's just me.
We're going to get this
I've
bingo
gotten a
card
little bit
done.
more I've gotten a little more outgoing, and that's thanks to you, so thank you.
You're welcome. Not a problem.
What was your favorite thing about fuel, now that you're away from it and can look back at it?
So there's kind of a couple things with fuel. I think overall, the best thing about fuel definitely was just meeting people like from all over the state. And even just, kind of building relationships with people that you normally wouldn't necessarily talk to, or,
Mhm.
if they weren't at your credit union or, not in your department, you wouldn't necessarily talk to someone. But it's really nice to still keep in contact with like you. And I'll talk to like Eloisa every so often. I'll talk to Jacob Herman. He's at Frankenmuth. I'll
Yep.
talk to Jesse down at Consumers every so often. So it's really nice to still have kind of a group of people that I'll check in with just to say, hey, how are you? And, all of that. And I think the other great thing is that with Fuel, Hughes, and the Michigan Credit Union League kind of letting that organization with the Fuel organization being
Mhm.
part of their events. I think if it was just a Fuel thing kind of on its own, it wouldn't have the level of, I don't know what the word would be, just kind of like that level of recognition, if you will, that it does have. And it really, I think, has done a lot of great things for a lot of younger people, for sure.
Yeah, they're officially a sponsor of the collaborative. Like they're my one sponsor this year. I got a
That's really
sponsor.
great.
It's like, yay, thank you guys. I don't think I would have thought to talk to half the people that I've talked to
Right.
if it wasn't for Fuel, if I wasn't sitting next to them at a conference randomly, or Fuel hadn't paired them up with me, or any of that. And that's coming from somebody who's very in their shell.
The other kind of crazy thing is going back to kind of the whole like adventure to Aloya thing, if you will, is so last year, was it last year? Yeah, it was last year at Q's. I met Leah, who I mentioned earlier,
She's super
from
awesome. I've met her.
Aloya. She's great. Oh yeah, she's awesome.
Love her.
And I met her last year. So when I interviewed with Aloya, my last interview was with Leah. So that kind of like was full circle, which was kind of crazy to me.
And you had already kind of built that relationship from seeing her around, and that gave you
Exactly.
look at you get better jobs this way.
Right.
I think it's just amazing that you're like, I feel like checking this out, and there you go.
Yeah, it was
I
just
love it when
literally out of a conversation out of the blue. That's how it happened.
and they say that too. I remember it was last year because no, well now it's 2026, so 2 years ago now. Kyle Grinsky saying that too, like how he became Filer's CEO is like just networking and people calling you, and I'm I'm still trying to get used to that. I'm still trying to get used to the fact that there is a network of people that I can talk to now.
Well, and I think it's cool too, even with, not being in the fuel program when I was, there's
Mhm.
always like one person will email a question about whatever. And then
Yep.
it's just a chain reaction of everyone. Like it's almost, like within minutes, which is crazy that you can get an answer about something that you're either, doing at your credit union or looking into doing or something like that.
We did that at our district meetings, even. We do all of our stuff on the agenda and then, oh, hey, we still have this room for a half hour. Is anybody facing any difficulties or have any questions that you want to get input on? And that to me, the collaboration is one of the things I always go back to is like how willingly we collaborate and how I've actually had dreams about it. I mean, granted, I've had a lot of weird dreams the last couple of weeks because of pain medicine, but I've recently had a dream about it and I woke up like, why am I thinking about my work collaborating with that?
Right. Yeah. I will
I
say
mean, I guess it could have weird streams.
it was really nice in October. I went to the economic summit in Ypsilanti, and it was really
Oh,
nice to see the fuel group there and see a lot of people that I knew.
I wanted to go to that so bad, but I didn't get a chance to. I'm
It's
so
really
jealous.
good. There's a lot of really good presenters and a lot of good information. And even if you're not like, you know, into the econ side or not a super, like math person or numbers person, it's
Yeah.
very interesting to listen to everyone and kind of what they're presenting on and what they talk about.
See, I'm not a great math person, but I like economics. Like I like learning about it, but I don't follow it like hardcore in depth. But like if you sit here and talk about it, I'll be like, yes.
Could be very interesting.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was that kid in high school too. Like I want to learn about it. So with Aloya, do you travel for that? Or are you just at home or how does
Yeah. So Aloy,
Nope.
so the crazy thing about Aloya is we have employees in every state except for I want to say 3 in the United States. So we have people all over the place. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
you
a
guys
lot
are
of
big.
people actually. Yeah, there's actually a lot of there's a good amount of people in Michigan. Maybe I want to say maybe like 15 people. So yeah, I definitely work at home, but I do get to travel to events. And then in January, I was in Albany. So we have an
Ooh,
office in Albany, New York, and then our headquarters is in Naperville, Illinois. So I'll eventually go to Naperville in the
yeah.
spring.
Oh my gosh. So you get to kind of go all over the place and see people and What's your favorite part about it so far?
Definitely just kind of seeing like some different places. I had been to New York City once, but now I've been to the state of New York, to Albany twice. Once when I hit my 30 days, I went out there for the week. And
Okay.
then every year, every department gets together. And usually you're either in Albany or in Naperville. And we all went to Albany the first full week of January. So like my whole department was there, which was nice to see everybody.
Oh,
And I
wow.
have, so my coworkers, so my department, there's 5 of us.
Okay.
I have a coworker in New York, just outside of in the Albany area. My boss actually lives in New Jersey. One of my coworkers is in Minnesota, and then my other coworker is in Metro Detroit.
At least you guys are all connected. Like you're only spread over 2 time zones instead of 4.
Exactly.
Because I was
Yes.
about to say, how does that work?
Yeah.
Because like our court has central time and it throws me off. So I would not having to coordinate with multiple people. Maybe I'm just simple minded. I don't know. We'll say
No,
that
it works well because of everyone kind of being all over the country. And
way.
at least in my department, my coworker that's out in Minnesota, she just comes in an hour late and just works her normal schedule because she's in Central Time, not in Eastern Time.
Oh, that makes sense. So she's just see, I would love that. If I've learned anything the past couple of weeks is I'd be a really good third shifter.
Yeah,
So
right.
I need Harbor Light to come up with something for me to work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and I'd be golden.
Overnight, just do all the processing, everything.
Literally, I would do all of our processing, all of our compliance stuff overnight. It'd be great. I've learned that my internal clock is a night owl, which is why I took yesterday off to sleep all day.
I just want to stay up at night and do everything, and I'll be super productive.
I realized I have been trying to get yourself back into the habit of not doing that. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
When you have anxiety. And you're like, okay. No, I don't know any other questions other than what does it look like? What's a day in the life or
Mm.
other things that you've learned that you want to share with us or I don't know, we'll kind
Yeah,
of
I
leave it
think.
to kind of like it.
Yeah, so for at least for my day to day, it kind of varies. And the reason I say that is because part of our job is also to kind of cover our member services. So like our contact center. So
Okay.
during the day, we log into their phone queue for an hour, like when they're at lunch. And
Yeah.
then we kind of have our own times throughout the day where we have to cover. So like my coverage time is always like the last hour of my day. And then the rest of the time is basically, keeping up on emails, meeting with your credit unions, setting appointments, reaching out to them. If for some reason we have like a CD special or something like that. So like take, for example, next week I'm meeting with 4 of my credit unions all virtually. And those are typically around a half hour, but they can be quicker or longer, just depending on whatever the credit union, whatever they need or what they want or whatever they want to talk about.
So you literally answer calls like customer service calls sometimes. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you would be correct
I
on.
like that. It's all about teamwork.
It is. Yeah. And the nice thing is so like when a credit union calls and we pull them up in our system, we can kind of see, when they called last or what's, kind of being worked on or if they're, opening up a new like product or service with us, which is that's super helpful.
And there's Aloya credit unions, right?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know much about Aloya. I know that we use Aloya,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know any of the bare minimum of Aloya.
Yeah, yep. We're just we just service credit unions. Yeah, a lot of credit unions. I mean, process anything from ACH to wires to payroll, you name it. Cash orders, all of that. So there's a lot of different things that Aloya provides to credit unions. It can be 1 or 2 things, or it can be anything and everything, which is really
Yeah,
nice.
I think we cash. I know that's how we do our wires. Mostly because when we give somebody a piece of paper of how to wire in, it always confuses them because it has to go to Aloya and then us. And we're like,
Yeah,
but you want it to go to Aloya first.
exactly.
Promise you want it to go to Aloya. Like, it's very confusing. And like I said, I only know just that we use them. And I know I've talked to Leah a few times and I've been at the booth, but I'm not the vendor person. I don't even sit in operations anymore, so I don't even know how it works half the time. I just show up and I'm like, hey guys, here to audit you. Do I know what you're doing? No,
No,
absolutely not. That's okay.
that's
Okay.
great.
Uh, but besides the collaboration, what other things do you like about credit unions?
I think that it's just really nice to be able to even like going to like an event and you're going to see a ton of people that you know, whether
Yep.
you've had an in-depth conversation with them or you've just seen them out and about, maybe at like a chapter gathering or something like
Mhm.
that. It's nice to know that you can literally just strike up a conversation with almost everybody. I mean, I've never really run into anyone that's not wanted to just talk or chat or whatever. And it can be on the credit union side, it can be on the vendor side. It kind of goes both ways.
Vendors are bless anybody who's a vendor because y'all are the most outgoing people, and like it gives me hives thinking of having to talk to all of those people in one day. Like, I come home from Ace and I crash for like 5 days. I love it. It's the best thing ever, and I love getting out there and talking to it, but I could never do it on the scale that vendor does.
I was going to say, speaking of ACE, the Credit Union League does a really, really, really good job with everything. And like you said, it's definitely like overload, but it's a good type of overload.
Yeah, I find myself in my hotel room at the end of every night in, like, complete silence of, like, just but it's the best kinda overload, and the vendor halls, I think that's my favorite part, honestly, other than, like, the breakout sessions and the networking, but I like the vendor halls, not just because you get free stuff, but I get to talk to vendors and practice being a little bit more outgoing
Mhm.
and making connections with people outside of just straight credit unions. And then it's also very entertaining to see the people who are just there for like the free things. Because last year I literally watched a lady take a bag and like arm swipe across the table into a bag. And I was just like,
My gosh, that's crazy.
and she just kept walking. And I was like, I just want a pen. Like, and then I realized we were doing Secret Santa and I got our CEO, which is very nerve wracking. And I got him like a notebook pen holder thing. And I was like, I'll give him a pen. And I looked through every single unused pen and they were all vendor pens. And I was like, I have a problem.
Oh my gosh.
I have a vendor. I have like 20 vendor pens. And I was like, so
Oh
miss,
yeah,
you want to taking pens?
you can pick up all kinds of things during the vendor hall at Ace for sure. I mean, everyone's got it, anything and everything you can need. The best thing is like when you go past a vendor booth and they have like Tide pens and stuff like that. You're like, all
Oh,
right,
I haven't got a Tide pen in years. Love that. I forgot who the vendor was last year. They were giving out little bottles of whiskey, and I went back with my coworker Andrea, and he was out, but he had a bottle of red wine that he had won the night before at Quicks for a Cause. He's like, I'm not going to drink it. Do you want it? Yes,
sure,
yes, I want it. It's the best vendor gift ever. Like, thanks for the bottle of wine. I've got a pizza cutter in student choice.
that's
Like,
great.
it's just random things that you get there.
I know. And then you're like, when am I going to use this? And then all of a sudden, however, whenever a couple months, you're like, oh yeah, I got this at a conference or something. And you're like, oh yeah, then you have all good memories from all of that.
My niece does, we do girls' night every few months at my house where we like spend the night. We blow up an air mattress in the living room. We watch movies. We stay up all night. We make pancakes, all that. But she likes to doodle and she's 10. And so I have a stash of like random notebooks from conferences. And can I doodle? Yeah, just go get one of I call it the conference notebooks. And she knows exactly where they're at. And she just
Hmm.
goes and grabs one. And I'm like, thanks, guys. Not taking up my work notebooks. And you can take it with you. She's got like 5 conference notebooks in her house now from me that she's stolen. I'm like, you can take them because I've got like 20 more kids. The same question that I've always asked everybody is, is there a moment of why do you do it? I know it kind of looks a little different because you're no longer like you're at a lawyer, you're no longer like in the credit union member facing. But in either way, whether at a lawyer or a venture, is there been a moment or two that really has just kind of defined it and like, this is why I love this industry, or this is why I love what I do, or anything like that? Do you have one of those moments?
I think honestly, it really goes back to the people and the collaboration and how, even if, no matter if you're at an actual credit union, if you will, or if you're at a vendor slash, partner, I think a lot of it goes back to just people helping people and wanting to be there for people, whether it be, your front line or you're supporting another credit union with something that they need help with. I think a lot of it goes back to that and being collaborative and just honestly building relationships with people and doing as much as doing, with what you have.
I like it. People helping people it's something that has been at the forefront of my mind in general the last couple of years because of fuel and because of all of that. And it's very true. And I love it. It's
And
the
you just
best
want
part of
people
it.
to know that like, hey, you just kind of be yourself, your authentic self, and just, if you need something or want to talk about something, whether it's, related to your credit union or something else or whatever whatever you want to talk about. It's always nice that you have that option to, talk with whoever or be on a podcast. See?
Or Snapchat people. It's all good. We're fine. Thank you for being around for my wacky Snapchats while I've been on pain meds.
You're welcome. No problem.
Um,
And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a lot of people next month at Q's in Detroit. That'll be really, really great to see some familiar faces.
I'm so excited for you. A little FOMO, but really excited. I know Eloisa will be there. No, Andrea.
Okay.
I know a lot of people will be there, so that'll be fun. I do
Right.
like that Swirl is taking more of a center stage, I guess, at it this year.
Mm.
So that'll be interesting.
That's great. That's awesome. I hope the fuel program keeps growing and it just keeps doing great things, because I think for a lot of people, it's done just, a lot of great things for everyone and in the state too.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. See, well, thank you for joining me.
Thanks again, Camille. This was really fun. I really enjoyed it. If you, ever do another podcast, or if you ever do like a panel of a podcast or something, definitely let me know.
That's a good idea.
That'd be fun.
We'll let you know on that. That might be season 2. I have to figure out when my first season ends. I like that. That's a good idea.
That'd be really fun.
I'll keep it in mind.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good Friday.
You too. Have a good Friday night and a great weekend. Okay.
You too.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
All right. Bye.